Along with manifestation, we have visualization, and this generation, the Gen Z, is so much with vision boards and all.
Right.
Is it just the mindset that we are setting, or the placebo effect? Does that really work? Manifestation, vision boards, or visualizations, do they really work? What do you think?
Are you a fan of horror movies?
I am.
So you must watch quite a few of them, right?
I did.
So maybe even now during your childhood, you come home from a movie theater, you watched a horror movie. You turn off the lights and you're about to sleep. And in the corner of your room, you see someone standing. So you do something which majority of the population does. For some reason, it's like a protective cover against ghosts. You put your blanket over your head. The ghost is confused now what to do. This is not my area. And then eventually you muster up the courage and you turn a light on. And you actually see there's nothing there. Or maybe it was just your jacket hanging. Or maybe it was just a pile of clothes. So isn't this visualization? You telling yourself again and again that ghosts exist. I've seen a movie where ghosts exist. And now you go back and there is nothing, but still for you the ghost exists. Right? So yes, vision boards, these things are not to be frowned upon. If they are done with a purpose of, which is one issue that I do have a lot, not just with the Generation Z, but even with every generation that has existed, is that people love to show things off. There is no tangible meaning for achieving what they want to do. It's basically to tell 10 different people that I am doing what I'm doing. If this is the case for vision boards, then yeah, they don't serve any purpose. But if a person can imagine it to such an extent where they start believing it's true, there is a chance that it can work in their favor. Now, to go to an extreme level and do this is also incorrect. But to go to a level where you really want something and you go out and get it, and you cannot think of a single day where that does not run in your head, that is a benefit. So yeah, make your vision boards. Make your posters. Think about what you want every day. Get invested in it. Become obsessed by it. And there is a chance you'll either get it or you'll die trying. But either ways, it's worth a shot.
It either changes your mindset or leads to placebo effect. Okay. So regarding universal laws, the philosophical side of universal laws, we have your law of vibration, where people claim that they have felt as if they've been tuning in with the energies around them, and also the energy that is surpassing through them, through their body. Is there any experience of yours? Have you felt anything, any sort of thing that you have experienced with the vibrations and energy?
Although I would like to give a very fancy answer and intrigue the audience by saying I have never had such an experience. Even if I must have had something, I would have taken it in another sense, maybe in the sense of emotions or excitement, if that experience even happened. But I don't think I've had such experiences where a vibration or an energy in myself was unexplained. It would be unexplained at that point of time, but later answered. But not this way. Now, does that mean that this doesn't exist? No, it could. It may and it could. There is a form of healing known as Reiki. R-E-I-K-I. Okay. And that form of Reiki healing talks about how a Reiki practitioner, by tuning into their own self as well as the self of the person who is in front of them, just by waving their hands over the part of the body where there is pain, can release the pain. And this is practiced all around the world. As a matter of fact, this comes under psychology in ancient healing methods. So those philosophies did exist. People did do it. People used to become Reiki practitioners as well as give Reiki treatment. Now, if you go to a person who has experienced this and tell them that that was false, they will deny. But if you go to a person who never experienced it and tell them that it's true, they still will deny. The world loves denying.
Can we say that this Reiki effect is a result of placebo effect?
Could be. Could very well be.
Because there is no scientific evidence that proves.
Right. We have so much advanced technologies to see spectrums of visions. We can see UV rays, we can see infrared, we can see so many different ways or wavelengths of which light travels, but we have never been able to see waves coming out of a person's hand and going into one's body. Now, could that mean that it's not possible? Right now, as of this very moment, the chances of that being possible are lesser than not being possible. But maybe in the future, once our technology improves, or once we are able to understand the universe in a better way, we can assume that it can be true. But scientifically, no. It's impossible. Impossible.
Yeah. So we also have the along with the law of vibration, we have law of attraction, which says that like energy attracts like energy.
Right.
However, in psychology, we have the concept of unconscious biases and also self-sabotage. So is it that people are manifesting things that they do not they feel as if they do not deserve for themselves in their life? Are they doing this?
Let's say you belong from a very loving family. Your parents love you, your friends love you, not just family. Everyone around you truly loves you to the greatest extent they can. You try this out. From today onwards, start telling yourself that all the people around you are bad. It's your duty to say that to yourself every day, regardless if you agree with it or disagree. Doesn't matter. Just say that to yourself every day. I hate my parents, I hate my friends, I hate my life. Once you do it for an extended period of time, you will automatically start finding out faults in everyone. And eventually that thought becomes an action. It's like saying this, when you go back home today or when you're driving anywhere, I want you to now start focusing on all yellow cars. Just look at yellow cars. So now what will happen is from point A to point B, your mind is fixated on yellow cars, which if I did not say this, you would have never even paid attention to. It would have gone past you. So the mind is such a powerful entity. The mind is such a powerful thing where it can make you believe whatever it can. It can make you believe you are the greatest person on earth and no one can touch you and you're in control of everyone with supreme narcissism. It can make you feel like you are worth nothing. You have nothing going good for you. Low self-esteem. Or it can make you feel like you are completely at zen, at peace. Your thoughts make up you. The universe's thoughts does not. The thoughts of people around you don't. It's what you process thoughts as. So, like your question is, you have these theories where I attract something that is similar to me. That could be true, but there are also people who attract complete opposite. Something that they are missing within themselves. They want that instead. There are people, unfortunately, who are stuck in toxic relationships for majority of their lives because they have been manipulated into this cycle of getting extreme amounts of hate, then extreme amounts of love, then hate, then love, and now they're stuck in this entire cycle of wanting that even more. So the human mind works in a very mysterious way where it wants what it wants, but it also is governed by itself. It tells you things. You tell yourself things. So no, the universe has no relation to what you like or dislike. The universe has no duty or it has no business in telling you what you can do or not do, what you like or what you don't like, what you're attracted to or what you're not attracted to. That's not its business. The problem is people love blaming. When something good happens in your life, the finger points to yourself. When something bad happens, it points to others or up towards God.
In psychology, we say this ego defense mechanism.
Yes. A lot of defense mechanisms come into play. You rationalize the situation, you use sublimation, you use a lot of these things, which it's fine to a certain extent because you are a human after all, you want to protect yourself. But yes, you need to stop. I feel one very important thing is that this generation needs to stop blaming everyone. This is one common thing I've observed with people who are much younger than me, where they want to blame everything for even the tiniest inconvenience to the largest of scenarios where they could merely actually be at fault. People love blaming. God, why did you write my destiny this way? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Because we do not want to take accountability. But at the end of the day, neither God, if God exists, neither the universe, neither the laws of universe, they don't owe you anything. You did an action and you got a reaction. Someone gave you a stimuli. It is your decision how to process it. At the end of the day, that relies on you. You can change your life if you change your thought. Of course, this is easier said than done. It's very easy for us to sit here with microphones and just say this and give tens of people advice. It's much difficult to follow it in real life. I agree. But it's at least better to try than not. So no, these concepts of your unconscious thoughts, concepts of self-sabotaging, it is all the fault of the person and the scenario. Of course, the scenario is at play. I'm not going to say that people who have faced heinous things in their lives, people who have faced so many issues where they were never at fault. Someone who was physically, verbally, sexually abused. These people, of course, they should not blame themselves. But what I'm talking about is self-sabotage, where there is no reason to blame yourself, yet still you do that. And then it becomes an addiction. It lowers your self-esteem, it lowers your drive, it lowers your motivation, it lowers your belief. And then eventually you end up being a person who thinks that you're not good enough. Even if you are the only one who can be you.
Even if people do blame others or themselves for everything, all the aspects that is happening in their lives, how do they identify that they are blaming, that aspect of blaming?
Right. It's very easy. If blaming someone else is solving your problems, then do it. But blaming someone else never solved any problem. Let's say today, okay, let's take an example. I worked very hard on designing a machine. I gave it to you and I told you, please take care of this. I really want you to take care of this. With no fault of my own, you end up breaking it somehow. And you come to me and you tell me I broke it. Now I have two options at this point. Either I can scream, shout, yell at you and ensure that all my anger is on you and then go back and start working on it again. Or I can immediately go back and start working on it again. So at the end of the day, blaming never solves your problems. Blaming may make you feel good for some time. All the emotions that are built up of anger or sadness, yeah, that's a release. Fine, you get to release that. But then what good does it do? The easiest way to see if you are a person who has a tendency of blaming everyone when it's your fault, just see if that blaming is even doing anything. Now, if I blame you, for example, since you broke my machine, and now you fixed it and gave it to me, now I can say, okay, it was your fault. Blaming you was right because you did it. But let's say you had no role in breaking it. Let's say that you kept the machine very safely, but someone came and stole it. You're not going to sit and build the machine again because it's not your problem. You had no role in creating a problem in my life. So why would you solve it for me? So the way the person or people you blame react to the blame tells you a lot about whose fault it was. If I blame you and you feel guilt, higher chances are you did something wrong. If I blame you and you now shout back at me, higher chances are you didn't have anything to do with it. But of course, these are generalized advices. These are generalized conversations. Things change in specific scenarios. But overall, there is no point blaming anyone regardless if it is their fault or not. And of course, I am also a person who has done this. You must have also done it. The viewers must have also done it. But whenever you feel you are in control of your mind, try not to blame anyone and try to see where you went wrong. If I really worked hard on that machine for so long, I should keep it with me and not give it to you because I know it's going to be safer with me. Me making something for so many hours and completely handing over the responsibility to you is indirectly me taking away the responsibilities from my shoulder and putting it on you. Now, if you break it or not, I should be the one blamed. Why did I give it to you in the first place? If it really meant something so important, I shouldn't give it to you. I should keep it with me. So you can be blamed in any situation.
What I believe is blaming others. It basically, people does this basically to reduce their anxiety of having that guilt, or maybe improving their, not affecting their self-esteem. So if we talk about in this sense, improving or not affecting their self-esteem or reducing their anxiety, can we blame them for protecting their self-esteem or reducing their anxiety as a person?
Okay. So now you've asked a very interesting question. So now we're getting into the area where a person is blaming because they want to protect themselves. Now you must understand one thing, that if you're blaming and your self-esteem is increasing, then is it really your self-esteem increasing or your quote-unquote ego increasing? Because your self-esteem should increase regardless, without blaming or being blamed. You can tell me right now that I'm the stupidest person you met. But if I know in my own head that I'm not, regardless of what you say, I don't believe it. But if I have a doubt in my head and you bring that topic up, now I'm going to start doubting myself as well. So at the end of the day, you have to understand exactly what part of life you're targeting, because we get confused. A lot of times in narratives, I've seen people fighting and they decide to end their relation. Any type, doesn't matter. And they say that I ended it because of my ego and self-respect. But was it really your self-respect, or was it your tendency to prove yourself right? To not feel guilty about something you did? If you have a logical mindset to analyze this, and upon your deepened analysis without any biases, you know it's not your fault, then go ahead and blame. But that's not possible. We all have biases, right? So protecting yourself by blaming someone else will only work for a certain period of time and will only work with a certain group of people. It's rather better to protect yourself in different ways, where you want to create scenarios where there is no one to be blamed other than yourself.
All right. So I would like to pick last one philosophical universal law,
Sure.
which is the law of gender. It says that as human beings, we possess both feminine and masculine energy in us.
Right.
In similar way, we have a concept in psychology which is anima and animus.
Jung, yes.
So yeah, Carl Jung's theory. So in your opinion, do we actually possess both energies within ourselves?
First of all, very interesting question. Okay. As I recently had a word with someone I know regarding this only. First of all, let's define what is masculine, feminine. What do you think? What defines masculine and what defines feminine?
For me, masculinity defines the ability to protect the people around that person. And femininity, the subtle, the affectionate love that comes along with it. So if we compare the balance between masculinity and femininity in a human being, it comes along with the ability to protect the people around that person and also providing love and affection to them.
Right. So you're talking about masculinity being the symbolism of protection and femininity being the symbolism of nurture.
Nurture.
Right? Okay. So let's take your definition and answer this question. Now, masculinity, femininity has been projected throughout history in many different ways, shapes and forms, right? First of all, universe has no gender. We shall get that out of the way. Secondly, if you want to go spiritual or religious, you can read and refer to Hinduism. Whether you agree in that religion or don't agree is your business, but I'm just saying to read. We had a very beautiful depiction of Shiva in the form of Ardhanareshwar, Adi Shakti, where he is half male, half female. Now, coming back to Carl Jung, when he talked about the anima-animus concept, where a male can have feminine tendencies and a female can have masculine tendencies. First of all, everyone can have everything. The mere act of masculinity and femininity is not just genetic, but it's also psychological in nature. let's talk about attraction of opposite genders. We see in animals that a peacock will frail its feathers, a gorilla will pound its chest, a lion will attack another male lion. I forgot the species of the deer, which will fight with its antlers until it rips apart the head of the other one. So we have these extreme signs of aggression from the male to impress the female. Okay? Let's talk about modern day humans. One of the biggest problems that I'm going to just speak for males. I won't speak for females because I'm not one. So I cannot speak on behalf of a female. But in terms of a male, one of the biggest problems that men face in today's generation is the lack or the inability to have masculine qualities. A lot of women are complaining with this. There was a famous, I am a very big fan of memes.
Okay.
People around me, I don't use Instagram, nothing, so I am not in this zone, but people do come and show me on their phones.
The men are not chivalrous anymore.
The men are not, men used to go to wars and this one is eating cake. Like these. But we cannot ever deny that at the end of the day, the innate genetic sense of a male being masculine will always be there. A female being feminine will always be there. But the twist in the story is that upon the need, the roles can change. But the big asterisk here is upon the need. We are seeing that a lot of males in today's generation are not behaving as quote unquote alpha males, for the lack of a better word, or masculine males. Because there is no need of the hour. Not everyone is going to war, other than the soldiers and people who are in war. But majority of the population isn't. We don't need to hunt our food anymore. We don't need to build homes anymore. What's the role of a man left? So now it is translated in other aspects. Financial security. Strength in terms of conflicts. Right? Similarly, back in the day, it was not like the men hunted and the women just cooked food. Even the women built homes. Even the women would hunt. Right? But in today's generation, again, for women, that's not required. So what happens is, when the innate genetic need of doing something disappears, the line between masculinity and femininity also starts blurring. We have a lot of males doing activities of females. We have a lot of females doing activities of males. Whether this is good or bad is a topic for debate, completely different. But yes, it does exist. And it should exist to a certain extent. If a child is born without a father, the mother will have to play the role of a father as well. If the child is born without a mother, the father will have to play the role of a mother as well. Now, can the individual people play the role of their counter halves exactly that the counter halves would? No. I can never play the role of a mother unlike a mother would. You can never play the role of a father like a father would. But can we emulate it? Can we enact it? Or can we take qualities and try to do it? For sure. Of course. And it's necessary. The world changes, and as the world changes, the need changes. So it's very important to understand the need of the hour. We don't need the typical barbaric males anymore. We don't need these males pounding their chests and fighting and killing each other to show that I'm stronger. Of course, I have another belief where I feel masculinity and femininity are concepts which are here. But we need to understand that these don't matter. Right now, what matters or the need of the hour is intellect. Brains, IQ, universe, thought processes, psychology, that has no gender. Your existence has no gender. At the end of the day, gender is only important for two things. One is reproduction and upbringing. That's it.
That very well said. The concept of anima and animus. You have very well differentiated the masculine and femininity with very good examples. So previously you have mentioned the in the aspect that we spoke about blaming, because people should have the awareness about what exactly they are blaming. So there's this saying, the better you understand yourself, the better you understand the world.
Correct.
So if we speak about the concept of self, does self actually exist, or is it the mere illusion that we make up in our mind?
Okay. I'll ask you a question for this, even the audience here.
Okay.
So let's say you are there and we'll bring another girl. Let's name her X. Okay. Now I take your soul. Okay, let's not even go to soul. I take your brain, the storage of all your life's memories and thoughts, and I put it in her. And I put her brain in yours. Now which one is you? Your body or your mind?
Mind, maybe, I would say.
But then your friend who walks in will look at you and say that is you. Your parents will look at you and say that is you.
Because the mind, I have the memories in my mind, not the brain. So I would consider myself as the brain, not
as
the
the brain.
body.
But then looking at yourself, you are here. So then the question arises, which is more important, the mind or the body? Both are important. This vessel you have is what kept the brain working, and the brain itself is what defines the vessel. So then truly, what is self? Is self your physical makeup? Is self the memories that you have lived throughout in your life? Is self even higher than this? That is the question that arises. So this is a very infamous paradox. It's known as the hammer paradox, which I just explained to you, where if you take a hammer and you change the head, and then after 6 months you change the handle, is it the same hammer or a new one? So it's the same paradox. I just explained in a different way. So in order to define self, you must first understand who you are. Now, spirituality will tell you many different answers. It will tell you that there are very many different dimensions of you. There is your astral self, your real self, your spirit, your soul. It'll define it in many different aspects and genres. Science will tell you that you are nothing but a complete makeup of your brain and your body and the hormones and all the processes that follow within. Now, to believe the self, you must understand that you exist because a thought exists. As long as a thought is in your brain, you exist. There's a very interesting question I throw around to all my friends, and I asked one of my friends recently, I just gave him a statement that you created God. So he looks at me, he's like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, let's say you died today and there is no rebirth, no afterlife, no heaven or hell. The day you die, God is dead for you. The only way God can exist is if you think about God. Similarly, the only way you exist is if you can think of yourself. Your thoughts, your ideas, the way you see life is what makes up you. So the idea of self can be broken down, in my opinion, into a very basic concept that being is a collective makeup of everything that you have ever seen since the day you opened your eyes till the day you die. That is yourself. Yourself can change. It does change. Your personality does change throughout your life. It may not change very much. The peaks and troughs will be very less, but it does change. So you can never really define yourself. I mean, if you go and ask yourself 10 years before, you will say that that's not me. That's a completely different person. 10 years from now, the older 10-year-older version of you will say, this is not you. So to define self, first of all, okay, in life, this is advice I'd gotten way back where someone told me like, Neel, understand this. Never fixate on what you want in life because what you want will always change. Fixate on what you don't want in life. Similarly, if we put this same idea into the sense of self, understand that don't fixate on the idea of what you want yourself to be as. Rather, fixate on the idea of what yourself should not do. We sometimes get so into this thought process of I want this, we realize that we make mistakes along the way. If you start to focus on, okay, you know what? I do not want to be depressed. Now, of course, we're not talking about the clinical term depression. We're talking about the feeling. I'm feeling depressed. Okay. If you tell yourself, I don't want to be this way, that is the first step of change. If I keep telling myself, no, I am depressed, no matter which therapist you are, you can be the most highest paid and the most logical therapist on this planet, you will never be able to fix me. Because I have made it in my mind that I do not want to be fixed. I do not want to be solved. I just want to be sad. Right? You need to understand that self is a malleable part of life. It changes its shape and form, but its core remains the same. For me, no matter what I do or what type of person I become, today I can sit here and I say that, okay, I love riding bikes and I love tattoos and I love going to the gym and I love this and that. Tomorrow I can say that, oh, I love hiking and I love swimming or this or that. Day after tomorrow I can say, oh, I love music. But at the end of the day, in my own core, I know that the only thing that excites me is knowledge. And that can never change. No matter what anyone calls me, says to me, if I'm doing a 9 to 5 or a business, that part of me will never change. So people should start figuring out who they really are. Because you're a white canvas, everyone comes, paints things on you and leaves. And you end up believing that that is who you are. That is what everyone does, even myself included. Even the most greatest of great people. That is how everyone's life is shaped. You feel you are a, accumulation and amalgamation of things which people have told you are. Today I sit here and I tell you, you're very smart. You're very smart. You're going to believe you're very smart. 5 minutes from now, someone else tells you you're dumb. You are dumb. Now you're going to believe you're dumb. You'll keep changing. But your sense of self will always remain stable. So, most important in the path of self-discovery is do not lie to yourselves. I have seen people lying to themselves a lot, being deceitful with who they are. When I was back in US, I got blamed by all my friends. They used to tell me, stop being this guy who only wants to talk about these like physics and maths and stop. Pick up the guitar and be in a band. Be a jock. Play a sport. Be the cool guy. Which I did. But then I was never happy in that area because that was not me. Now, does that mean you should completely deny the advice of others? No. Because sometimes we are blinded by our own faults. We never pick faults in ourselves, right? So a very logical approach to this would be first figure out who you are. Forget about every philosophical nonsense that you've been told in your life. Forget everything. Forget God made you this way, science made you this way, parents made you this way. No, forget all of that. Sometimes you need to start peeling the layers of paint to again see the white canvas you were. And then maybe start painting again. And if that doesn't work out, remove the paint and start painting again.